Hello, I'm Sarah, otherwise known as Yarn Mugs on Instagram and Ravelry. Welcome to my podcast where I chat about my knitting, crochet, sewing and the books I've been reading. How are you all? Hope you're all okay. It's been a funny old day today, lots of rain, but some sunshine too. So yeah, I'm feeling really good. I'm having a day off today and thought I would do my podcast. So I've got lots of things to share with you. I've got things finished, I've started new things. Yeah, so hope you enjoy what you see. I'm gonna have a sip of tea. So before I start, I'll just talk about what I'm wearing. I think a lot of you have seen this jumper before. It's the Rosary jumper, and it's a vintage pattern which has been shared by Janelle from Rosary Apparel, and it is free if you subscribe to her newsletter. And Janelle has got a lovely YouTube channel. She's a sewer, but she does knit as well. But yeah, she's fantastic. She's a real big inspiration of mine. So yeah, this jumper I made a long time ago. It's a very pretty lace pattern. It was made in pieces, which I didn't really enjoy. It's a bit too big. The sleeves for me feel too big and they're off my shoulder, and it's too long in the arm. But it's beautiful yarn. This was from Travel Knitter a long time ago. It was called Pirates Bay. I'm very tempted to unravel it. I've never unravelled a made project before, and I suppose I have got a little bit of anxiety about doing that, about whether I can unravel it. Will I regret it? Because I do get lots of lovely compliments every time I wear this. I think it's probably more the colour, that's what's nicer, but yeah, it's pretty, but it's just not quite right. And could I use this yarn in another project instead? Not sure. What do you think? Let me know. Okay, so let's start showing you what I've been up to. I think last time I was showing you a sock that I was making for my dad. I have made one of them. I don't really like it. He will like it, but I don't really like it. It was a sock set from Beaches and Birdsong, and it's the Tobermory sock set. So it was a blue mini and this colourful yarn. And how I started it off was I started off with the colourful yarn for the toe, and then I did 2 rows of each of blue and the colourful yarn. It still created this kind of unusual stripe, which I don't know if I like. And then it was quite handy that I managed to get all the heel out of that. So internally there are no ends to weave in, because I've just held the yarn all the way up. And then I got to this point, and then it just had to become the colourful yarn. So yeah, it's not my favourite look, but it's a nice sock. It's one I've made quite a few times when I make socks for other people, and I just tend to do a combination of knit so many, purl so many, so it's like a bit of a rib effect. So I know that it will always stretch and hopefully fit that person's foot. But I've got all the measurements for my dad's foot for previous socks I've made. So it's, yeah, plain knit on the sole, but I do the rib all the way up the leg, and fish lips kiss heel for the heel. So yeah, I remember at the time when I got the sock sets, I think I subscribed to a bit of club, but I never was very happy, thinking, oh, I don't know if I really like the yarn. But my dad will be over the moon because he just loves a handmade sock. So that is completed, but I need to cast on the next one. And I've got the yarns all ready here. So it was a 50-gram yarn of colourful and 20-gram for the blue. And like I say, I've managed to get a whole pair of socks out of that, so that's lovely. So I must do that when I feel the urge to cast on something new. I then have recently been away with some crafty friends, and we went to a really sweet little yarn shop, and I had to buy some yarn, and I bought this beautiful yarn. It reminds me a little bit of this, but it's a bit darker. So it's navy blue, but with these flecks like little neps of yeah, a bit of a turquoise flash. It's lovely. And I don't know how to pronounce it, but I've got a funny feeling the G is silent. I think it is Isaea. And this is 70% wool, 30% mohair. And I bought 2 50-gram skeins, so I've got 100 grams, because then I decided I'd like to make some mittens, and I thought I needed to do that in a bit of a DK weight. And I've never made anything. I've never had yarn that's got mohair in it. You wouldn't really know it, only from when I see other people knit with mohair. There's no kind of fluffiness to it. It feels a little bit rustic. It smells lovely, but it is fairly soft. And what I decided to make, luckily I had a pattern already. I bought the Riptide socks. In fact, let me get my little book out. Oops. Just to remind, and don't forget, if any of you don't know, I do put all the details of patterns, yarn, all sorts of things with links down below in the description box. Yeah, so they're the Riptide mitts by Jennifer Shields Toland. So yeah, this is Isaea tweed, so I suppose that's what the little neps are. And these are the Riptide mitts. Now on her pattern picture, it is really clear, the stitch definition is beautiful, and I suppose where this is dark, you can't really see it very well. And it kind of looks a little bit like cables, but they're not cables. And that's the back, or the palm. But isn't this pretty with just this little detail? I absolutely love it. Everything about the pattern was perfect. Everything was clearly described. The thumb, I just absolutely love that thumb gusset. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to put them on because I'm so over the moon with them. And they fit lovely. Now, the only thing about the pattern that I didn't do, it described a tubular cast on, and I just couldn't do it. I went on YouTube, I looked at videos, I kept losing count. I just couldn't do it. And for me, it didn't feel intuitive, it didn't feel nice. So I just went back to the one I always do, and I don't really know what it's called. There is a bit of a twist, and I do it around my thumb. Yeah, but it makes a stretchy cast on. So you start off at the cuff, and again, look, it's nice and stretchy. Look at them. I'm so pleased with them. Yeah, the thumbs are just lovely. So yeah, so that's the only thing I didn't do. I didn't do the tubular cast on, and I can't remember whether I did more rib. I'm not sure. I've written down how many rounds I did, but I can't remember if that was more than what the pattern suggested. I'm so happy with them. This is probably my first pair of, I think I have knitted some mitts before, but with this pattern in it, I made a little mistake. That's annoying, isn't it? Standing out like a sore thumb. Never mind. It's not, it's a hole, but it's not gonna, well, in fact, maybe it's not a mistake, because look, when you pull it out, there are holes all the way down, so maybe it's not. Aren't we terrible pointing out things when we've done something wrong? Isn't it lovely? Yeah, so what did I say it was? 70% wool, 30% mohair, made in Ireland. Yeah, so that, and it did not take long. I think I had these made in a couple of days, 3 days tops, and that is evenings, you know, evening knitting. And I would definitely make more, and what a lovely gift they would make. And so nice to have bought some yarn as a kind of a souvenir yarn and to make something straight away. So out of that 100 grams, look how much I've got left. I did write how much I used. So out of the 100 grams, this a pair weighs 45 gram. So I've got more than, just a bit more than that left. So I could make another pair, or do I put this into something else? Yeah, so I'm really, really pleased. So it was 2 50-gram skeins held double to make a DK weight and create these beautiful, beautiful mitts. Lovely. I won't be wearing them much now it's getting a bit warmer, but how lovely to have them all ready for the winter. And I'm really drawn to this kind of colour. Isn't it funny? They are kind of similar. Yeah, love it. So, so nice. So that's the first finished thing. I then decided I was going to cast something on or start something new. And that is because I was very tempted and bought the yarn that Gaynor from Tales from Cuckoo Land dyed or designed with Lay Family Yarn. So her Hercule Durkle yarn. So I'm sure lots of you who watch Gaynor, you already know about this yarn, but I bought a skein of her yarn and it's very, very pretty, very delicate, very light blush with some gentle speckles in there. And I wanted to buy it to support Gaynor and to support Lay Family Yarn, but also because when I went to Lay Family Yarn retreat last year with Gaynor, when we you have a go and you dye some yarn up yourself, she dyed some yarn similar to this. And when you attend the retreat, you get a sample of everybody else's dyed yarn. So you get 10 grams from everyone. And I knew that I wanted to make something with that. But I knew just those mini skeins alone, I wouldn't be able to make much. So buying this, I just thought, yes, with 100 grams of this, and I think it might be 17 10-gram minis, I decided to start another granny wrap. Yeah, I'm really pleased. I'll show you in a sec. So it's Granny Wrap by Annaboo's House, free pattern. So it's a fingering weight. Oh look, I just love it so much. Look at that. So what I've done, I have started off with Hercule Durkle and then interspersed it with a mini Hercule Durkle, a mini, and do that, alternating colour and Hercule Durkle. And I'm at the point now where I've used all of the minis once. I started off up here, I did a couple of rows, and then I'm down here, I'm now one row of colour. And it just still blows my mind that they might not naturally go together. They're not a matching set. I did try and put them in order of a bit of a, not a rainbow, but kind of, peachy, greeny, yellowy. It kind of goes into a bit of a, lighter to darker. I did think some of these probably, do they stand out and kind of look a bit jarring? But in the end, I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going with it. So I'm going to carry on with, yes, I've used my last colour, and my one is in here, and my one is, yeah, this one here, the greeny bluey one. And it is so funny how this one here is almost identical to mine, but lighter. So mine's like a darker version. And that happened a few times in here, even with like the pinky ones. Some of them were very similar. But like I say, just amazing how they just look like they go together. Now it's going to be smaller than the granny wrap I made for my mum at Christmas. And that was obviously a DK weight, so it's a bigger. But like I say, already, if I've used them all once, I think I'll end up with, yeah, a nice, oh, look at that. So each skein at the moment is varying weights because this was the first one I used, so I didn't use much of it. So I'm just hoping I can do the rounds again and get, well, I'm going to just use it all up. Even if it doesn't use up a whole stripe, I'll just keep using them all. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at them colours. So yeah, I feel like that Hercule Durkle is the perfect kind of neutral base, because it's not just white or cream or beige, but with the pretty speckles, it just gives a very warm look to it. I think I love it. And the fact that, yeah, she dyed a similar, not exactly the same, but very similar on the day. So I used hers initially, and then now I've carried on. So yeah, and I think if I end up using all the colours and then I'm left with this at the end, I'll just do a big kind of border of the Hercule Durkle. And then when we go to the retreat this year, I'll be taking this with me. So yeah, that is very, very enjoyable. If anyone's never made one before, it's such a simple pattern, and a joy just to see, you know, your colours coming together. And even if they're all just leftovers or scraps, it doesn't matter, just put it all in and they all kind of meld lovely. Really pleased. So the yarn is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So it's sort of sock yarn really, but yeah, it's lovely. Oh, and let me show you what I'm holding this in. Because this is in my first ever dodgy bag using Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful, her sewing bag pattern. And this was just made out of a couple of fat quarters. There's loads of mistakes, but that's because it's a dodgy bag. Like this handle I've put in the wrong place. Don't know why it's down here, because I can't use it. And in fact, I don't tend to put handles on bags anymore because I don't use them. And there's some odd stitching, but just white inside. And I love it, it's perfect. Aren't they sweet, like little hummingbirds? And I'm using for this fingering weight granny wrap, I'm using a 3.5mm hook. I can't remember the last time I ever used a hook so small. I think when I used to do amigurumi years ago, I needed this small hook, but so for me, this feels tiny. Generally, my hooks I would use 4s or 5s, 5.5, even a 6. So it does feel a very tiny hook. And I've used these for years now, these Addi Swing. It's quite ergonomic. I love the feel of it in my hand, and I never get a sore wrist. So yeah, check out that Herkle Durkle yarn. It's been really well received, and it is beautiful. So yeah, really pleased with that. What next? Sip of tea. Look at the sunshine, it is coming out a bit. Okay. Oh yeah, the next thing I've been working on is the Dainty Diamond crochet pattern. I've shown you this a few times now. This is using Stylecraft's Special DK. Oh, I keep finding Alfie cat hair in it. And this is using just white and the cream. And I was saying last time, this just, to me, feels like a real vintage baby blanket. And I'm really, really pleased with it. It's getting nice and big now. And I'm just going to use up all of that white yarn, and then that will be it. It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, there's something very traditional about it. It just reminds me, you know, years ago when my nan made things, often they would be in white or cream or baby pastels, you know, pink or blue, but yeah, I love it. So that Dainty Diamond is a fantastic pattern. It looks difficult, but it's not difficult at all. And it's very easy to read your work, and you know what the next round will be. I won't give it all away, but it is a free, I think it's a free pattern. I'm sure it was free when I bought it. Yeah, it's lovely. And this is really my go-to baby blanket pattern. I really love that. So for that, for a DK weight, I'm using a 5mm hook. Yeah, it's giving a really nice drape. So it's a crochet, 2 crochet patterns, a knitting glove, a mitt, and a knitted sock. Now, last time I was showing you the beginnings of my second Felix cardigan, and I have now finished it. And when I say finished, it's not blocked and there are no buttons on it, but it is finished. And I'm also in the process of sewing in the ends of the last sleeve. So let's just pull it the right way round. Oh, there's hair everywhere. Hair from me, hair from the cat. Okay, so this is the most, I love it. I really, really love it. Let me see if I can hold it up. It's all a bit curly because it's not been washed or blocked. So this is my second Felix pattern, just as a reminder for those that have not seen before. It's by Amy Christophers. She has done, there's a sweater pattern as well, but I'm now, like I say, loving the cardigan. By chance, I've made the perfect fit so that it does up and feels like I'm wearing a jumper. I'm so pleased with it. It's just a lovely pattern. The only thing is, and I don't know if it's the pattern or me, but on both my cardigans so far, I do seem to make a bit of a mistake on a couple of the lacy details. I seem to create an extra hole, and I'm really careful, but it seems to happen. So I don't know what that is, but it doesn't really matter. Once it's on, you can't tell. So yeah, I just need to fill this little hole in with the inside yarn. It's lovely, really long. I did an extra long cuff again, just using up the yarn. So last time I was showing you what the yarn was, and I had lots of balls of these Jamieson's Ultra. They're 25 gram in weight, and they're in the colour, that one, don't know how to pronounce that, and Water Lily. And then I also had a couple of skeins of this Ysolde yarn, which is very similar. It's a lamb's wool, and that is in the colour Aegean and Nimbus. And I was keeping them because I knew I might just run out. So you might be able to see here, this is when I ran out of this. So I used the Nimbus and the Aegean, but on the sleeves I had enough to do it all in the Jamieson's. And I think I used nearly all of the Water Lily, and I just had to use Nimbus. You can barely see, you know, it's such a good close match, just literally a bit of the last round and the cast off. So I'm so pleased with the matching of just yarn that I had, and I've had that yarn for a long time. I don't know if this will fit over this big sleeved jumper, but let's just try and show you. It does a bit. It's making me look like I've got a funny Michelin arm, but I just want to show you how lovely it is. I say, forgive the jumper underneath, but it's just just beautiful. I love the button band, the collar, and then it's at just such a lovely length. I say, I just have to sew the little holes up a little bit. I've not done the sleeve, the bit of yarn there, and I just need to find some buttons. But this lamb's wool, yeah, it's very soft, so it's going to be even lovelier when I wash and block it. It does say on here, I'm sure I read that, you know, hand wash. So yeah, I will be very careful. And funnily enough, this is described as sport weight, but for these I held them double to what I thought would be DK, but I think this might even be lace weight. But it's come out lovely. It's a lovely fabric. Yeah, it feels like DK to me. Yeah, what do you think? So nice. So I just need to pick some buttons. I don't think I've got enough buttons, so I'm going to have to go, I'll go and get some special. And I wonder what I'll get, whether they'll be wooden ones again. They probably would look nice, wouldn't they? Wooden. So yeah, I'm just going to sew the last of those ends in, and I might try and wash and block it today. Like I say, the sun does keep coming out, so look how lovely it is on the inside. It's even pretty, isn't it, on the inside? Again, I've sewn all the ends in already. So yeah, I'm over the moon with that. I'm really pleased to have something that's quite, again, neutral or natural colours. It feels lovely. And I'll probably wear this with jeans or trousers rather than with any dresses. I don't think it would go with any of the dresses I've got. But it just feels light as a feather. Yeah, lovely. Really, really pleased with that. And this yarn, like I say, I had it for years and years and years. And I think in the end, let's see what I did. I used, it ended up being about seven balls or seven, you know, the amount of yarn I had, I used loads. And I haven't got too much left over. I think all that was left over was from that Ysolde yarn. Yeah, the only bit of Jamieson's left was this tiny little bit, and then this there's more of the blue for the Ysolde yarn. I might try and make some mitts out of that maybe. I wonder if I'll weigh it and then see. So yeah, fantastic way of using up lots of yarn I've had for years, and make such a beautiful, beautiful garment. So that was my second Felix, and I've got the Felix bug. So I've cast on my third Felix. Can you believe that? Can you tell I love the Felix cardie? So this is again in my lovely homemade sack that I made myself. Now this is a little bit different from anything I've ever worn before. I am still thinking, oh, is this me? So let me get it out. Oh, did you catch a glimpse? So I bought this yarn quite a while ago. I think it was probably at the Knitting and Stitching show. And I remember seeing a jumper made up from this yarn. And again, it's not anything I would normally wear. Oh, look, here comes the sunshine. But I was drawn to it. I just thought, oh, I love the look of that. So it's this. It's from, I think it's Orchid with E-A-N on the end. Orchidean Luxury Yarn in the colourway Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a DK weight yarn, 100% superwash merino. It is very plump and squishy. The base looks quite a creamy colour, but then you've got these pops of bit of neon and speckling. So yeah, very, very different, but I like it. And again, I won't be wearing this with any dresses that I've got, but I'll probably wear this with jeans. Oh my goodness, there's cat hair everywhere. So I've cast on, I'm on the raglan shaping, so the lace detail. And this is where we are so far. It is very pretty. It does it feel a bit childish? I don't know, it reminds me of a little child's cardigan. So you can see I've got the lace detail going on there. Let me just, how do I fold it in just to show you? If I hold it up a bit more like that. So yeah, here you go. So these are the sleeves with the lace. Yeah, and the pattern, I mean, it creates such a lovely clean cast on edge. I love that. And obviously you're going to add your neckband, but you know, just that alone looks nice. But yeah, it is very bright and colourful. But I think, yeah, that would be pretty nice to wear with jeans or blue like trousers. But some of those colours are really, really neon, look. So yeah, it's a bit, yeah, so nice to go out your comfort zone sometimes, isn't it? And, you know, make something a bit different. But I know it will be lovely. It will be a lovely cardigan, and now we're kind of looking forward to the spring coming. That's what it reminded me of. It's very spring-like. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm alternating 2 rounds with 2 skeins. So I do a knit round and then a purl round, and then I swap over. And so on my swap over edge, again, you don't have any ends to weave in because you just kind of hold your yarn as you go up the edge. It's just the best way. I know not everyone wants to alternate skeins, but you know, I'm doing it for multiple reasons. Because of, you know, the yarn, and it might look different, like I've got different skeins, but for me it's the no weaving in of the ends. Now I've got 3 skeins of this, so I know on my other Felix cardigans I've used 50 grams for each sleeve. So I'm just going to, like the other things, just make it for as long as I've got the yarn for. So there'll be a point where I'm going to have to stop and think, right, I need to keep some to make sure I can get my button band and neckband in. But yeah, I'll just keep growing it keep following my previous instructions to what I've made before. But yeah, pleased with it. So, third Felix. I think after the third one, I'm not bored at all, but I'm thinking I do need to make some different things, don't I? Can't just keep making Felix forever. So yeah, I'm going to keep this skein then, the 100 grams for my sleeves. And alternatively, whatever happens, you know, you'll either have to make a shorter cardigan or shorter sleeves, we'll see. But yeah, that's making me really, it's really a joy to work on. It's very happy colours. So that's all the makes. 2 Felix cardigans, Dainty Diamond baby blanket, granny wrap, my dad's socks, and the hand mitts, fingerless mitts. So yeah, I feel like I've done lots since I last spoke to you. So let's go on to some books and also a gift that I was given. I need a cup of tea, I'm a little bit dry. I've got Alfie, my cat, near me, but he never comes on this camera. He just is sitting, watching the world go by. Not the world, the garden. Okay, so books. So I've got a physical book and I've got some Audible books that I've been listening to. So the most recent book I've finished is this one, and it's called Seesaw by Deborah McGack. And I've read one of Deborah's books before. I read The Carer and I absolutely loved that book. I'm sure I shared that on here before. Yeah, this was a good book as well. Funnily enough, it kind of, where it was based is not too far from where I live. So that was quite interesting, reading a book about things and places that you recognise. But ultimately, it's about a family and one of the children gets kidnapped and there's a ransom for her return. And the family go from being very kind of wealthy to experiencing, poverty. So it was quite interesting. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good. I liked it. Just trying to see if I can say anything else about it. I think the big thing about this was, and again, this is what the best thing I like about stories is when they talk about family, relationships. Yeah, and I really loved that. I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to give anything else away. But yeah, it was very interesting. The whole kind of kidnapping and relationships, and then the family relationships as well. And then what happens afterwards. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Then the Audible books I've listened to. In fact, I might just have to go back here just to remind, just to make sure I'm saying all the right things. What have I been listening to? Yes. So the big Audible book that I've just finished is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, and on Audible it's the version that is read by Richard Armitage, and it's 36 hours long. I've never read any Charles Dickens. I'm obviously aware of A Christmas Carol, and I'm aware of titles, but I've never read any others. And I can't even remember ever watching the very old film of this story, but so I had no idea what David Copperfield would be about. And I can highly recommend this Audible version. It is a long, yeah, it's long, you have to dedicate time to it, but I absolutely loved it. I loved the story. I loved, you know, it's the story of a little boy who is not treated very nicely, and some of it was quite hard to listen to, you know, but it's a very positive story as well. Oh, did you hear the train? Sometimes you get a real big beep. So many of you may already know David Copperfield. I won't go into great details about it, but this particular story is like a whole kind of memoir of his life, and I think it was almost based on Charles Dickens' own life as well. But the storytelling, the words, the language used, it was just beautiful, and listening to it was amazing. You know, all the characters were really good, really interesting, and there will be sentences that I will remember forever from this book. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Yeah, so if any of you have read it already or have listened to it on Audible, yeah, let me know, or if you haven't, I would recommend the Richard Armitage version. It's the complete story, like I say, 36 hours. It was wonderful. I loved it. Yeah, so that's probably it. I've just the Deborah book and the David Copperfield. So yeah, what have I been doing? 35 minutes. All that feels like it's whizzed by. I've got books on the go now and Audible books on the go, but I don't talk about them until I've finished them. So yeah, 2 good books that I would really recommend. And then recently, in my job, a family that I was working with bought me a gift. And so I just thought I'd share it with you because it was just the perfect gift for me. And so when I unwrapped it, I started to see a tote bag, and I love a tote bag, you know, it's so handy for projects. But look at this tote bag. It's got my name on it, and yeah, skeins of yarn and knitting needles, and I just love it. I was over the moon when I got that, and have my name on it as well. So yeah, I will definitely be using this as a project bag. It's beautiful. Done. I think that is it, all done. So thank you for watching, and thank you everyone who's also watching my Friday vlogs. They're really simple, but it's just a daily vlog. I'm recording bits of video on my day off, but yeah, thank you for all the lovely comments with that as well. So yeah, take care everyone, and thank you so much for watching, and look forward to catching up with you next month. See you soon. Bye.